This is KGW News at noon.
Good afternoon, I'm Drew Carney. Thanks for joining us for the news at noon. Just a few hours ago, the city of Portland announced 4 sites where it plans to build new affordable housing units. The sites include units for rent and single-family homes that people can buy. One of the sites, called Carter Commons, will be located on North Interstate Avenue. Kaiser Permanente donated the land for this project. A second site, also in North Portland, at the corner of North Williams and Alberta Street, will be called the Strong Family Site. It will include community outreach programs and opportunities for home ownership. Habitat for Humanity, that is involved with a third site in North Portland. This one at North Syracuse and Minerva. It will feature townhomes and single-family homes. And the fourth site we're talking about here is in Southwest Portland on Barber Boulevard. This one will be called the Portland Value Inn with multifamily housing units and outreach services. Metro Council, though, still needs to approve these proposed sites, although City Council expects to get that approval by early March. One of our other top stories this afternoon comes from Yamhill County, where investigators found evidence of fentanyl use in a classroom earlier this week. The case includes a sheriff's deputy and a couple of students who all got sick. KGW's Alma McCarty brings us more from Willamina.
On Tuesday afternoon, a Yamhill County Sheriff's deputy responded to the campus of Willamina Middle and High School. While there working on an unrelated investigation, a staff member flagged the deputy down, asking them to come check out a suspicious odor coming from the bathroom of a modular classroom.
The school staff member came and said, "I think we might have a problem." The deputy walked out to the modular classroom and within 20 seconds of going into the building started to tell that something was not right.
Captain Sam Elliott with the Yamhill County Sheriff's Office explained the deputy noted a strong, acrid smell before evacuating everyone from the classroom. Not long after, the deputy reportedly fell ill, as did a couple of other students. One was transported to Salem Hospital. The responding deputy also received treatment in the emergency department, according to the sheriff's office. Grand Ronde Tribal Police collected evidence on scene.
There were a couple of small pieces of aluminum foil that had burned residue on them that is consistent with how we see individuals smoking pills. And the vast majority of the pills that are encountered out there today do contain fentanyl.
Elliott said within the last 4 days, deputies investigated fentanyl overdoses nearby, involving adults in Willamina and in Sheridan. One of those overdoses was fatal.
We've seen a strong transition away from historically what was primarily methamphetamine and heroin usage in the drug community here in Yamhill County to where I would say it's almost daily we're dealing with calls involving individuals that are either under the influence or admit that they're smoking pills or using fentanyl or having overdoses.
It's still not clear if fumes from burning fentanyl are what made the deputy and students sick. Concerns that popped up over the past few years of first responders overdosing on the drug from just touching a pill or powder have largely been debunked. But the danger of secondhand smoke from fentanyl is unclear, especially in an enclosed space. Public health officials in King County, Washington, recently issued an article saying the risk of fentanyl exposure through secondhand smoke was low. We've reached out to Yamhill County public health officials, but have so far not heard back. Investigators are still waiting to get the toxicology report back from tests conducted on the deputy. In Willamina, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
There are new developments in the case of the 4 University of Idaho students who were murdered in November. Investigators recovered new evidence from the home of suspect Brian Kohberger. NBC's Aaron McLaughlin brings us the latest now from Moscow.
Newly released court documents reveal the items seized from suspect Brian Kohberger's Washington State apartment, as authorities continue to search for a possible motive and murder weapon in the killing of University of Idaho students Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Gonsalves, and Madison Mogan. Prosecutors allege 28-year-old Kohberger stabbed all 4 to death in the early morning hours of November 13th. According to the documents, the day of his arrest at his family's home in Pennsylvania, authorities were thousands of miles away, scouring the criminology student's apartment, combing for digital clues and DNA evidence. That search yielding a laundry list of items, including a chemical-resistant black glove, multiple hair strands, including possible animal hair, cuttings from an uncased pillow of a reddish-brown stain, and a dark red spot. They also seized electronics. The potential evidence is Kohberger's legal team is shaping his defense after they asked to push his next preliminary hearing to June. Kohberger has yet to formally enter a plea, but told his previous lawyer he believes he will be exonerated.
The defense is likely to start attacking all of those individual strands of evidence.
In the newly unsealed documents, prosecutors arguing it is probable that Kohberger went home after the murders, noting that the murder scene contained a significant amount of blood from the victims, adding it is likely that he still had blood or other trace evidence on his person. Also noting that Kaylee Gonzalez owned a dog, which may explain why they were looking for animal hair in his apartment. According to the documents, authorities also applied to search Kohberger's office at Washington State University, where he was a teaching assistant and pursuing his PhD in criminology. No items were listed as recovered from that scene. The victims' families waiting months more for the next day in court.
What we can focus on is this individual and finding every piece of evidence. It all needs to come out. It all has to be clear.
Again, that was NBC's Aaron McLaughlin reporting for us. Back here in Oregon, meanwhile, lawyers for the state's Firearms Federation are suing the Federation for thousands of dollars in unpaid legal fees connected to the Federation's challenge of Measure 114. This suit was filed in Clackamas County Circuit Court on Monday. It claims the nonprofit gun rights group, that is, has paid over $60,000 of its bill. But more importantly, they still owe more than $66,000 in legal costs. Measure 114, meanwhile, remains on hold. Back in early December, just 2 days before it was supposed to become law, a district judge denied the Oregon Firearms Federation's request for a temporary restraining order. Hours later, a Harney County judge put everything on hold to do a review. Just last week, Oregon's Attorney General petitioned the state Supreme Court to throw that order out so Measure 114 could go into effect. At this point, we are still waiting to hear if the Supreme Court will accept or deny that petition. One more story before we check in with Rod Hill in the Weather Center. A second dead whale has washed up here on the Oregon coast. So the Seaside Aquarium says a baby gray whale was found only about 100 yards away from the sperm whale that washed up at Fort Stevens State Park last weekend. Scientists are still investigating, but they don't think that this whale was injured by a ship or by any human interaction. They also say westerly winds could be a reason why we're seeing whales come closer to shore. All right, now we do check in with Rod Hill there in the Weather Center. Rod, what do you have for us?
Well, we start off at the coast, and that's where it has been sunny since relatively soon after sunup this morning. So lovely day on Cannon Beach. You can nearly walk out to Haystack Rock, it looks like. 45 degrees is the temperature there. Winds are light, so that's a beautiful day at the coast. Here in the valley, we're kind of sandwiched in between sun. I just showed you the coast. Now, if you go out to the gorge, you get sunshine as well. Partly cloudy skies out in Hood River. That's the view from Cathedral Ridge Winery. They have west winds out there to about 10, 15 miles per hour this afternoon. And temperatures will be in the 40s as well. Here is the middle. This is downtown Portland. We're the same through Salem and up through Vancouver. Just overcast skies, 41 degrees. The visible satellite picture, by the way, doesn't show a lot of promise of any rapid clearing. You see the clearance where you see the dark colors of the map base at the coast. So all this white up down I-5, that's cloudiness that hasn't shown a lot of erosion, has not shown much erosion over the past couple of hours. We will need some sun, I think, to get up to 45 degrees this afternoon. Winds will continue to be light. Frosty temperatures coming our way tonight. We'll have that 7-day forecast for you coming up.
All right, Rob, before we take a break here, we do have a quick heads up. The Vista House parking lot is closed today. So we reached out to ODOT and they told us that the State Parks Department closed the lot to repair a guardrail that was damaged last fall. We're still waiting to hear when the lot might reopen. So in the meantime, just know there is limited parking, and we mean very limited parking, along the road there that leads up to Crown Point.